Welcome to another edition of The Front Foot, where we go a little bit deeper into Atlanta United. My name's Jason Longshore. Yesterday was a big day, and we had now opportunity to go deeper into Atlanta United with the right person to do that, the president of the club, Darren Eales. I joined Mike Conti and I on the broadcast that was on ATLUTD.com/live against Georgia Revolution from Athens. And then Darren followed us over to Athentic Brewing, and we had an opportunity to talk a little bit more. Here is that conversation unedited. It was during the U.S.-Canada World Cup qualifying match, so you might hear some reactions to things from that match. But Mike Conti, John Nelson, and myself, and a couple of questions from listeners as well, we had a chance to talk to Darren Eales yesterday afternoon. Here is that conversation.
Let's welcome Darren Eales, shall we? Darren, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you being here today. You'll borrow Jason's mic, I guess. Darren, first of all, here we are in Athens, Georgia on a Sunday. It's freezing cold outside. We had 3,000 people out at the soccer complex to watch Atlanta United. And look at the passion here in the city of Athens, Georgia, for not just Atlanta United, but just soccer in general. This is amazing to see, isn't it?
It's incredible, and a big shout out to all our fans. It's amazing that we had so many to pack out a preseason game. And I joke, it's probably more than some clubs get for an MLS game, like just for our first preseason. But to see the crowd here today, it's exciting. And a shout out to Gonzalo, because I think, as everyone knows, he's someone that really wants to make that commitment to sort of meeting the fans where they are. And this was what we tried to build in the preseason. So not only playing areas where our fans could come and watch us, but also streaming the games, allowing fans to sort of to get to see the team as it goes through preseason and we go through our progression. So, it's wonderful to have a coach like Gonzalo that gets it. And today was fantastic. And we wanted to get a little bit of that magic of the Bulldogs and the national champions. And hopefully I feel like we still unlocked the door in 18 with our win and beat the curse, and now it's time to win another one.
That's how I feel. Absolutely.
When it comes to this particular month of the year, it's one of the busier months in the international calendar. There are usually two. It's this one and then the one in the summer. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about specifically is being an executive during one of the busiest times of the year for an internationally recognized club like Atlanta United, because obviously the conversations are out there about players and possible destinations and all that. What is this month like for you specifically, and how mad is it? How mad crazy is this month being a quality club like Atlanta United?
Yeah, it's pretty busy.
You have international rates on your phone.
Yeah.
Right?
It's funny because I've got twins now that just turned 7, and my wife, we came up yesterday, and the idea was to have a nice, relaxing trip to Athens, and literally I had no time with them on the way up. I had to stop the car at one stage to get out and take a call because the twins were making too much noise. So I said to Faith, it felt like a good idea sort of 6 weeks ago, and I'll not do that again. But no, look, it's a busy time. It's, I spoke about it a little bit earlier on the broadcast. The issue we have is the way that our season runs in MLS, it's not helpful because, this window is not really a window when you want to be doing business, but you sort of have to, because we don't want to be doing much business in the summer when we're in the middle of our season. So it makes it a little bit more difficult. So, we have to work now. We know 31st of January is when most of the windows close in Europe. So we have that sort of deadline that we're working to. So it's a bit busy. So excuse me if I suddenly run off.
We'll
as long as you tell us who's on the phone when you're leaving.
Yeah. Show us the screen on your phone and
Yes.
we'll let you go. Okay, we asked you about this on the broadcast, but a lot of people here were at the match and did not get a chance to hear. So I'm going to repeat some questions, but I think for everyone in the room, they'd appreciate. There are some reports, numerous reports about George Bello's status and a potential sale to a club in the Bundesliga. Your comments?
Yeah, firstly with George, what a player. For us, so exciting, part of our history. Our first homegrown player that actually played for the United States men's national team. So, we're super proud of him. He was part of our inaugural academy year. So, firstly, he's been just a great legend for the club. Secondly, look, this window we've always identified as a great window for George to get a move to Europe. He's always wanted to take that next step. Some players don't necessarily want to do it. George has wanted to do that. So we targeted that. And I think, you guys can see it from Andrew Gutman. We lined him up last year and we sent him out on loan because we wanted to leave that pathway for George last season, knowing that there was this possibility. Then it comes to the trick of trying to find the club. And I think, I think we wanted to find a club that is right for George first and foremost, somewhere that he wanted to go, somewhere that was exciting, but also we want to get the value for the club as well and make sure that it was something that worked for everybody. So I think we've landed in a spot that's going to work for everyone. It's funny, I think the saying goes that the art of a compromise is everyone's equally displeased, and it's one of those where we had a little bit of to and fro, because that's the natural thing. We're not going to roll over and just let someone go for peanuts.
Yeah.
But likewise, we're aware that not always is going to be the best offer. It's going to be the offer that is right for everyone. And credit to George's agents; they were really good in collaborating through the whole process. And so we ended up with somewhere that is right for everybody. It's still going to happen, so let's not jinx it. But hopefully, George gets the move that he wants, and for us, there'll be a club in the Bundesliga that a lot of people have never heard of that we're all going to be fans of.
And it does speak a lot to the academy and what you've been building here from ground zero to have a moment that could be happening like this with a player like George Bello.
Yeah, it's super exciting. I mean, so George thoroughly deserves the move, and we're excited for him. But look, it leaves a runway now for Caleb Wiley, a new homegrown that we just signed, who we're really excited on, who plays in that same position. We saw people like George Campbell playing today, Tyler Wolf. We've got a lot of players in the system coming through. And I think, again, it speaks to the system with the academy. We brought it in a year before the first team started, back in 2016. Arthur Blank, our owner, was willing to make that commitment a year early because he understood that the quicker we start the academy, the quicker we start the process. And I think we're seeing the fruits of that now. And, our hope and our excitement is that every year we've got this fresh talent coming through, and we're almost needing to create that pipeline to enable them to play.
I know we're going to have some audience questions in a second, but I want to ask you about Barco as well. And we did talk about this on the broadcast, but just for people who weren't able to watch, River obviously has announced. So can you just update us on the status of Barco, and also, I guess, some of the oddities of this international transfer market and how that impacted a move with Barco?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is, you see it a lot with the South American clubs announcing stuff, So I can't comment officially, and we only comment officially when everything's signed.
Right.
Understood.
And I think we've seen it before with, centre halves last season where things get announced. And, I saw a few tweets. Felipe had a tweet that Club Bruges had put an offer in that was more than another club. And obviously, one, that's rubbish. So I don't know where that came from. But two, sometimes you can think and say, well, if there was a bigger offer, we obviously would have listened to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but it's that time, isn't it, where I understand it. Everyone's got sources.
It's silly season.
Silly season.
And that's why I wanted to ask the question about silly season and how crazy it can get for an executive, especially in a league like Major League Soccer and a community and a commodity like Atlanta United. That's why I wanted to ask the question.
Yeah, and what it's like. Everyone's got an agenda. Agents want to get certain stories out there because it's going to help their clients. So that's why, I know it's sometimes frustrating, but we'll only announce it when it's official. So in that respect, nothing's official, but obviously with a player like Ezequiel, we are looking to try and find an opportunity for him. Again, it's something that the player wants. So we're working with him, but we're having to be innovative because it is a different marketplace at the moment. And so, I think, if we can get something done that suits everybody, we'll try and get that done.
And then quickly, do you see any more incomings before the start of the regular season?
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll have one or two, hopefully, before the start of the season.
So you can break some news right here. Sit there and say, yeah, that'd be great,
All right, I'm going to hand my microphone to Jason because I know he has some audience questions.
I got one I wanted to follow up on kind of the topic just a little bit. I think for people out there who hear the big rumors of big moves, and that's what's going to get the headlines. But the balancing act that you have to do, that Carlos has to do in terms of making those moves count, but also developing the homegrowns like a Caleb Wiley to be next, along with trades within the league and just making sure you balance winning and development and finances. How do you do that?
Yeah, look, it's a difficult, there's a lot of different factors you have to take into account. And I think, there's a couple of things. Certainly, firstly, in an ideal world, or not an ideal world, but a non-salary cap world, you wouldn't have to trade people. But we live in a world of a salary cap. So, on that example, I go back to when we won the cup. The reality is you can't give everybody what they want. So it's a fact of life that you have to do that.
Right.
So I think, that's a factor. Obviously, we have the expansion draft, which is another factor. So, for a club like Atlanta United, we have a good depth in squad, so we're always going to get picked off. Every time we're not protected in the expansion draft, we'll lose a player, and that's because our squad's so deep.
Right.
And the reality is, there'll be a player that we all feel sad about losing, but if we protected him, we'd lose someone else. So
Right.
it's like whack-a-mole. There's no way you can stop
Yeah.
that player going. So part of that's frustration. But it's part of the process. You have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I think the one thing for us that we would never do, we're not in a situation where we're happy to trade players for finances. So,
Right.
With Arthur Blank as an owner, the best owner you could ever have in soccer, he wants to win. So, it's never done because we need to bring in finances. But obviously, when it's right to trade a player, we're going to make sure we get fair market value because, we owe that as not only for Atlanta United, but for MLS. And I think we did that with Miguel Almiron. Miggy was one that went to the wire, but I'm proud of the deal we struck there because I think it helped set the market for some of the deals that you've seen since.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's even beyond the balancing act that you have to do for Atlanta United. There's a little bit of a balancing act that you have to do representing MLS.
Exactly, because, again, it's not fair to the other partners if, for whatever reason, when someone does a deal that doesn't seem fair, it makes it harder when you're doing the next deal because everyone points to that MLS player. So
right.
We sort of owe it to our peers to make sure that we're getting fair market value.
We've got a couple of questions from folks here. First off, what does it mean to the club to play in front of fans outside of Atlanta and get the reaction you did today?
Brilliant. I mean, unbelievable to come in today. I mean, so excited to see the stands absolutely packed. And again, for us, what we love is, I think back now, it's been 7 years since I came over from England and, we've had success in Atlanta, but we want to be growing the game in the wider state of Georgia, in Alabama. We're obviously playing in Birmingham at the end of the season. But the other thing that's cool is we played against Georgia Force, Georgia Revolution.
Yes.
So, these clubs that have been fantastic partners for us, it's not their season at the moment. So we're really thankful to them that they provided us an opposition. But also it's great for us to be able to help them get in the spotlight and sort of call out the great work they're doing because this is a pyramid. It's not just about Atlanta United. It's about all the clubs that are underneath that, grassroots, youth clubs and professional clubs. So, we enjoy trying to find any opportunity we can to help lift the sport of soccer in the whole region. And so when you see the fans, it's a reminder of just how amazing our number 17s are. And, I can't believe we've got so many here at the pub tonight.
And that kind of leads to another question is, can we expect more friendlies like this at Georgia, Florida, maybe Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, universities or university towns?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for us, we're going to look now at how can we sort of take the show on the road, so to speak. And if we get opportunities to play games that are helpful for us in our warm-up, but also are a chance for us to meet the fans where they are, then we're going to take that opportunity. So I think already, this was such a success today that I think you can see in the future we're going to do more things like this.
I'm going to throw the last one at you that a lot of people have asked me, and what is the expectation for 2022? What are the goals for the club going into this upcoming season?
Well, I think we're really excited. Firstly, I think second half of the season with Gonzalo as the coach, we saw in terms of points per game, we had the top in the league. I think we've got a pretty consistent squad. There hasn't been as much changeover as we've had in seasons past. We saw, for example, Luis today, I thought was looking really sharp.
Yeah.
Luis Araujo. So, we feel like we've got some really good pieces. We've got a great coach. Look, it's a tough league. Every season it gets tougher. You've seen some of the DP signings from, clubs that are not even, necessarily the big spenders, but everybody's getting a better squad. But I think, for us, we want to be competing for trophies. And again, it'll be up to Gonzalo to set the targets. But for me, we want to be competing for trophies. And I think that we've got a shot at being a side that could be competing for the Supporters' Shield. Because I really do feel like we've got a consistent squad. We want to be in Champions League. Unfortunately, we're not this year.
Right.
But the good news is it means that we don't have to go and play in, Costa Rica or Honduras in the third week of preseason.
Yeah.
So that is probably an advantage.
A little bit.
I just want to thank you for coming. And I hope everyone here knows that you are very busy right now at the end of a transfer window. And it is not ordinary for an MLS club president to be spending a Sunday afternoon with us. So we definitely appreciate your time very much.
Look, and thanks for your guys' support. And thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it. And come on, 2022, I think it's going to be a good year.
I think so, too.
I've got a fun one for you to end on, though. I know you're the music guy. You're the karaoke king. We've seen
Got
your
the tour date
TikTok.
with
We know
Waka,
everything
you
you're
got
doing.
the tour with Waka coming.
We've had this question at tour stops before. We've had a question about like what song would we use to define like our life or our character or whatever. What song would you use to be the theme song of 2022 for Atlanta United? What song are you picking?
Wow, that's a difficult one. I need to think about that one. Ooh,
You have a deep well of musical knowledge.
yeah, you throw me there because obviously I just think to my karaoke numbers, but
I don't know if some of those would
Chameleon's
work.
Not really.
No, Karma Chameleon isn't going to work here, I don't think.
Give me a minute. I'll get some inspiration. I'll come back to you on that one.
Okay.
But I tell you what, I do want. Like one thing I'd love us at some stage, all our supporters, to get their thinking caps on. It'd be great for us to have that song that we play. We've never found that song that defines an Atlanta United victory at the stadium.
Like
so
what
again,
LAFC does with Hollywood Swinging,
and
for
look,
example.
I know it's really interesting because I think at my club, Cambridge United, they used to play I've Got a Lovely Bunch of Coconuts. Weird song, but it's just the song they play, you know.
Yeah.
So there's always mad reasons why it happens, but
Yeah.
one day we need to coalesce and we want it to be supporter based. But at some stage, we've got to find that song that we play that after a game that everyone joins in on.
There's some homework for everybody out there. Start thinking about that. And you can tweet at us your answer to the theme song of the year.
Yeah, no, I'll do that. And I think it should be REM, given that we're in Athens. So
Thank you.
there we go.
Yes.
Get my head
There
on.
we go. Thanks, Darren.
Thanks again to everybody at Athentic Brewing for having us. Great turnout yesterday after the match at the Turner Soccer Complex. Can't wait to go back up to Athens. You guys know me by now. I'd love to go to Athens any opportunity I get. You can go back and watch the whole show on Twitch, twitch.tv/soccer down here. Again, it was during the U.S.-Canada game. We might have gotten wrapped up in that a little bit towards the end. But we also talked about a lot of big picture things, whether it's U.S. Soccer, whether it's Atlanta United. If you get an opportunity to go back and watch that with myself, with John, with Mike, please do so. Twitch.tv/soccer down here. Busy week as the team heads down to Mexico for 3 friendlies, one on February 6th, 2 on February 13th. All of those will be streamed. I will be in Guadalajara for the first game on Sunday, February 6th, against Celaya. I will be on site for that. I'm going to do the broadcast solo on that one, and then Mike and I will be calling the other 2 games on the 13th remotely, but we'll have both of those games streamed for you. And then Birmingham on the 20th, and then it's opening day. Sporting Kansas City coming to the Benz. Everything is running forward very, very quickly. Here on the front foot, we will dig deeper into things like the depth chart, things like potential starting lineups. The roster, as Darren said, is still coming together. You have a couple of outgoings, it appears, and maybe a couple of incomings, as Darren said. So waiting to see what those are. We'll continue to dig deeper into this. Hopefully I'll be able to drop a front foot from Mexico as well and dig a little bit deeper into things there. So thanks for listening to everything that we put out on SDH. We really, really appreciate it. And we will be back all this week with new shows. See you soon.